masjid you go to, and you told me you go to the Cham Masjid. But just tell me a bit about that community and why it's kind of unique in America, not in Seattle, but in America.
Well, I mean, when I first became Muslim, I would say the first 3 or 4 years I spent praying at the Cham Masjid or Jama Muslimin. And I would say that it was a unique experience because one, they always welcomed me. You know, even I recall, I would say even when sometimes I didn't know all the I don't know, the mannerisms.
But let me ask you, first of all, the people from that Cham masjid you go to, did you know them before you became Muslim? And what is their ethnicity in that masjid?
Let's see. Well, before becoming Muslim, a lot of them, a lot of the younger Cham people I went to elementary, junior high, and high school with. I recall seeing, you know, some of the sisters wearing hijab, you know, from elementary, junior high to high school. And I remember, you know, seeing some of them and saying, oh, why does she always have that scarf? Take that scarf off, you know? Or, you know, making jokes about them. And I think it was my first Eid after becoming Muslim that I seen some of these people and they say, oh, you remember me? And so I think, you know, we were able to make a connection. And you know, a lot of them I've been friends with ever since. You know.
I mean, but from which area of the world do they originate in that community?
Vietnam and Cambodia.
And they accepted you, an African American, just like their brother.
Oh, definitely, and yeah, definitely. I mean, they've always accepted me. Not only that, just recently, you know, like. You know, my son has been spending a lot of time at the masjid because, for whatever reason, a lot of youth gravitate to that community. And a lot of their teachers are young people, you know. So I think it has a positive influence on the Muslim youth that live in the area, whether they're Cham, whether they're not Cham, you know. And so, you know, usually on the weekends they might have barbecues, you know. They might go play soccer, they might have sleepovers. And so, you know, my son has also been spending a lot of time there, you know. And as a result, you know, I had to tell one of the Cham brothers, I said, you know, I really appreciate, you know, you guys welcoming, you know, my son, because not all communities are like that. You know, not everybody is welcoming, you know, but basically the same way I've been treated, you know, among them, you know, they treat, you know, my children and my son the same way, you know. And so I think that it's good for my son because he'll have a broad perspective on Muslims. So when there's times when, you know, we go through struggles or misunderstandings, he can say that, you know, there's Muslims who, you know, are very welcoming, you know. So.
Well, Brother Bashir, thank you very much for sharing your story of how you came to Islam and how you've moved your family into an Islamic environment, and that's very inspiring. But before we conclude, I'd just like to ask you, as being someone who accepted Islam for himself at a very young age, what do you feel is the future outlook for Islam here in America?
The future outlook, well, I mean, when I read the history of Islam in America, I feel like Islam is still developing. I feel like with maybe every generation, there's a different perspective. I think that it will continue to grow. And I feel like as more Muslims become educated, you know, I think it will help, you know, generations that come after them to have, you know, a better understanding and a better perspective of Islam. And I think that, you know, being a Muslim American, or however you want to call it, I mean, America is my home. And so I feel like Allah has put Islam here for a reason and for a purpose. How that purpose evolves, Allah knows best. but I definitely feel that, you know, Islam has a purpose here in America, and it will continue to grow and develop and evolve.
Inshallah. Brother Bashir, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And I hope that our viewers are able to get really an insight into what life is like for Muslims here in America and the many different ways that Allah guides people's hearts to Islam. And I invite you to join me as I continue to travel throughout the world of Islam. I hope we've been able to separate the fact from the fiction, the truth from the falsehood, and the myths from the realities, and leave you with a positive understanding about Islam and Muslims. And I invite you to continue with me as I travel throughout the world of Islam, keeping it real by telling the stories which must be told. And I ask you all to remember the very important rule: don't judge Islam by the people, but judge the people by Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله